Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something literally game-changing for your visuals. We're talking about how a surprisingly simple tweak in camera placement can completely transform the emotional impact of your visual storytelling. I mean, whether you're holding a massive cinema camera or literally just the smartphone in your pocket, the framing choices you make, they dictate exactly what your audience feels. Picture this. You're watching an intense, highly emotional conversation, but you're watching it from all the way across a football field. You can barely see the people, let alone feel connected to their struggle, right? Now imagine seeing a single tear fall from one of their eyes and it's filling your entire field of view. Suddenly, you feel absolutely every ounce of that emotion. The dialogue didn't change, the acting didn't change. The only difference is the physical distance between the camera and the subject. And that is the true power of shot size. Distance creates emotion. So over the next few minutes, we're going to journey right through the visual spectrum. We'll start from the widest possible environments and travel right down into a character's deepest emotions. We'll zoom in methodically, step by step, to see exactly how shifting from a wide to a medium to a close-up totally alters that psychological relationship between your subject and your viewer. Section 1. The wide shots. First up is the extreme wide shot, or EWS. In this framing, the environment completely dwarfs the subject. The person is tiny, maybe just a little speck against a massive mountain range or a sprawling city skyline. And EWS is your absolute go-to for landscapes, travel films, and opening scenes because, well, it instantly establishes location and scale. Long before we actually care about who the character is, this shot answers that fundamental question, where are we? Moving in just a bit closer, we arrive at the wide shot. Here, the frame captures the character's full body from head to toe while still keeping a good chunk of the surrounding environment. This is absolutely essential for helping the audience understand body language, posture, and movement. It shows the relationship between the character and their immediate location. It perfectly establishes character plus environment. Think about it. If your character's awkwardly navigating a crowded hallway, the wide shot lets us see both their physical hesitation and the busy crowd all around them. Section 2. The medium shots. Okay, this brings us to the medium wide shot, which frames the subject from about the knees upward. Now here's a fun bit of film history for you. This is often called the cowboy shot. Why? Well, in classic westerns, directors needed a frame tight enough to see the actor's face, but wide enough to show the gun holsters on their hips. Fast forward to today, and this size is brilliant for dialogue scenes involving movement. It gives equal, balanced weight to what the body's doing and what the face is saying. Step in a little further and you hit the medium shot, framing the subject from around the waist up. You'll see this literally everywhere. News broadcasts, documentary interviews, and almost every single YouTube video you click on. And there's a good reason for that. It directly mimics a natural, everyday conversation distance. When you're speaking to a friend across the table, this is roughly how you see them. That makes the medium shot incredibly relatable and just really comfortable for the viewer. Pushing in just a bit more gives us the medium close-up, framing from the chest or shoulders upward. This shot brings the audience significantly closer to the character's headspace. It is absolutely ideal for emotional dialogue. We're close enough to read the little subtleties in their eyes and facial muscles, while still keeping just a bit of their posture and shoulder movement to really ground the performance. Section 3. The close-ups. When you want the audience to connect deeply with what a character is feeling, the close-up is your essential tool. It fills the entire frame with the subject's face. And the background? It basically becomes irrelevant. This forces the audience to look directly into the character's soul. It reveals unspoken emotions, micro-reactions, and internal thoughts. You don't just use this shot casually, right? You save it for when the emotion is at its absolute peak. And then we have the extreme close-up. This is an intensely focused shot that isolates a very small but incredibly important detail. Think of a super tight shot on a pair of blinking eyes, nervous hands gripping a letter, or maybe the sweeping second hand of a ticking clock. The extreme close-up guides the viewer's eye forcefully. It basically grabs the audience and says, hey, pay attention to this right now. This is a story-altering detail that you absolutely cannot miss. Now, while we're up close, please don't forget these two vital utility tools, insert shots and cutaways. An insert shot shows an important object in high detail, like a glowing text message on a phone screen or a key turning in a lock. A cutaway, on the other hand, steps outside the main action to show something related, like a quick shot of the audience reacting to a speaker. These are absolute lifesavers in the editing room. They're vital for improving continuity, hiding mistakes, controlling your pacing, and just smoothing out the whole storytelling process. Section 4. Building a visual scene. Okay, let's look at the psychological journey of a scene in practice. Imagine a student receiving a pivotal exam result. We don't just start on their crying face, right? We start with an extreme wide shot of the imposing school building to set the mood. Then a wide shot of the student walking nervously to the notice board. A medium shot as they scan the paper. A close-up as their expression drops. An extreme close-up of tears welling in their eyes. And finally, an insert shot of the failing grade. Notice how the story becomes intensely personal as we move down this sequence? We transition seamlessly from understanding the environment to feeling that crushing emotion as the camera physically pushes inward.
Section 5. Mistakes to avoid.
So, a classic beginner mistake is shooting an entire scene entirely in medium shots, which, let's be honest, creates an incredibly repetitive and monotonous viewing experience. Another huge trap is just relying on digital zoom rather than physically moving the camera closer. That flattens the image and totally ruins the depth. And paradoxically, using close-ups way too often is just as bad. If everything is a close-up, then nothing feels special, and the emotional impact is completely lost. To achieve dynamic visual storytelling, you really need physical camera moves and a purposeful variety of shot sizes. And this brilliantly illustrates our core lesson today. Professional filmmakers think of shot sizes like words in a sentence. Just as repeating the exact same word over and over makes a spoken sentence boring and confusing, repeating the exact same shot size makes a visual story completely lifeless. Each shot size has a very specific meaning, a specific vocabulary. So, the crucial point is this. Wide shots establish the world. Medium shots tell the action, and close-ups reveal what the characters feel. By combining these shots intentionally, you create rhythm and emphasis. You're essentially holding the viewer's hand, seamlessly guiding them from understanding the geographic world to deeply feeling the internal human emotion. I'll leave you with this final thought as you plan your next project. The next time you set up a camera, ask yourself, how will I use distance to guide my audience's emotions? Every single frame is a choice. And speaking of choices, once you start combining these shots, you need to make sure your audience doesn't get disoriented, which perfectly sets up our next explainer, where we'll dive into screen direction and mastering the 180-degree rule. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and keep crafting those amazing visual stories.